Hi everyone, my name is India and today I will be presenting my research proposal on the role of emotional regulation in early childhood school adjustment. This presentation will walk through the key components of my study, including the research question, literature, methods, and potential implications. Emotional regulation is the ability to manage and respond to emotional experiences in healthy ways. It's especially important during early childhood, as kids are just learning how to express and control their emotions. These skills affect how they behave in the classroom, how they interact with their teachers and peers, and how well they adapt to the school environment. Many children start school without fully developed emotional regulation skills. This can result in behavior outbursts, withdrawal, and difficult focus. These issues not only impact the individual child, but also the classroom environment. Research shows the emphasis and emphasizes the importance of early support and intervention to improve outcomes and prevent long-term academic struggles. So, everyone, you may be wondering, what is the core question in this research? The core question of this research is, how does emotional regulation in early childhood affect school adjustment? I hypothesize that children who have higher emotional regulation skills will show stronger adjustment in areas like classroom behavior, peer interaction, and academic engagement. While existing research shows a strong link between emotional regulation and school success, Askey found that well-regulated children are more engaged in social adjustment. Farmer and Farmer emphasizes that caregiver support and environmental stress shape emotional development. However, there are gaps, especially in understanding how emotional regulations develop in diverse or unrepresented populations. This research used attachment theory to frame the study. When children form secure attachments with caregivers, they are more likely to develop emotional regulation skills. These early relationships set the stage for how children handle stress, follow directions, and interact in school settings. The study will use a quantitative correlational design to explore the relationship between emotional regulations and school adjustment. Emotional regulation will be measured using tools like the Emotion Regulation Checklist, and school outcomes will be assessed using teacher reports. The sample will focus on preschool to early elementary age children. Data will be analyzed using SPSS. Pearson's correlation and multiple regression will help determine the strength of the relationship between emotional regulation and school adjustment outcomes. The goal is to identify patterns that can guide the interventions. Culture and environment affect how emotions are expressed and regulated. It's important that interventions are culturally sensitive and inclusive. Ethically, we must protect the privacy and dignity of child participants. Children are always first. If successful, this research could guide more effective classroom strategies and emotional development programs. Based on the research, I recommend starting social emotional learning in early childhood classrooms, training teachers in trauma informed practices, and involving families in supporting emotional regulation. These strategies can help close gaps and promote healthy adjustments in school settings. Thank you for listening. Thank you everyone for listening to my presentation, and I would like to take some time to go over some questions that you may have. Question number 1. How will you measure emotional regulation in young children? I'll use a checklist that teachers fill out based on what they see in the classroom. It looks at how well kids handle their feelings and how often they lose control or get upset. Why did I choose quantitative correlation design? I chose this method because it helps me see if there's a connection between two things: how well kids manage emotions and how well they do in school. It's good for working with numbers and large groups of kids. Question number 3. Why is this research important for social work? Social workers help kids and families every day. Knowing how emotional skills affect school can help us support kids better and create programs that help them learn and grow. And question number 4. How will I make sure your research respects different cultures? How will I make sure the research respects different cultures? I'll include kids from different backgrounds and make sure I understand how feelings and behaviors might look different in each culture. I want to avoid judging kids unfairly just because they come from different communities. Question number 5. What are some examples of programs that help kids with emotional regulation? Some schools use programs like Second Step or PATHS. These programs teach kids how to calm down, talk about their feelings, and solve problems with friends. Question number 6. What ethical concerns do you have with working with children? I'll make sure parents give permission, protect the child's privacy, and use safe, simple tools. I'll follow social work rules that focuses on keeping kids safe and respected, making sure kids and our clients are our number one priority. Question number 7. How does families affect emotional regulation? Great question. Kids learn to manage emotions by watching their parents or their caregivers. If the home is calm and loving, kids usually learn to stay calm too. But if it is stressful, it can be harder for them. Question number 8. Can trauma affect how kids manage their emotions? Of course. Yes, trauma is like abuse, loss, or scary experiences can make it harder for kids to handle emotions. That's why it's important to have teachers and social workers who understand how trauma affects behavior. Great! Let's review. First, emotional regulation is a major part of how young children adjust to school. Kids who can manage their feelings are more likely to do well socially and academically. Second, strong relationships with parents or caregivers help children learn these skills early. Third, when children have good emotional regulation, they're better prepared for school life. We also talked about the need for early support that's respectful of each child's culture and background. So culture and background is very important. Finally, school social workers are in a great position to create programs, support families, and help schools understand what children need to succeed.